Hi everybody, it's Mariana Bartold from Genesis 315. I'm back, as they say. It's been over a year since I was able to make any type of a video. So people have been asking me, especially since I returned yesterday with my friend and colleague, Matt Gaspers, on his channel, Veritatis Vox, which is available on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. So please look for Veritatis Vox. If I've got my act together, I will include a link below in the description box. And I would also like to mention that, as you know, I haven't posted or anything in regard to a video anyway, or a short, in over a year, because it was last June that I was struck with Bell's palsy, which paralyzed the right side of my face. And it was through the testing when I first came down with this, we didn't know what was happening, and I was taken to the emergency room. But because of that, they found some other health issues regarding my thyroid. I have had pneumonia so many times in the last 5 years, it's not funny. Bronchitis, a torn tendon just for no reason, things like that. So I have a complicated medical history, let's put it that way. And it stops me from doing a lot of things I would like to do, but that's just the way it is, right? Okay. So last year I was saying two things. I wanted to, number one, start having more episodes that include my daughter, Bernadette, to talk about that very thing I mentioned earlier, living the Catholic world, living in this world as a Catholic, whether you were married, single, a religious, a priest. Of course, most of it's going to come from the lay Catholic, quote, perspective, unless we can get some guests on here with priests who can tell us some of their difficulties. We'll see how that goes. But I'd like to hear from you. I'd like to know what kind of real-life issues you think that should be discussed more openly in this Catholic world, that we're facing so many challenges and hurdles and outright oppression from either people or other sources that just totally go against that, right? Whether you are the single, chaste Catholic person, the world doesn't accept that, as we all know. If you're married, people have their own attitudes about that too, or if you're open to life, or if you're open to life and can't have children. Just different things, all the different things that people have to face every single day living this Catholic life in this crazy world. So we'd like to talk about that. The other thing I was going to talk about was based on something Malachi Martin said, who was a priest and an exorcist, Father Malachi Martin. He's considered a controversial person. I look at him as an enigma to a certain point. I knew Father Hardin, I knew Father Charles Joy, and they both knew Father Malachi Martin. He did hear about things with me, although I myself never just sat down and discussed a lot of things with him. But I did know about him, and he knew about me. I wish now that I had looked into talking to him, through those two priests. I should have done it, but I was much younger then. I was busy raising children, having children, and homeschooling, and trying to run a magazine. So that was something that was on my mind, but it never happened. But anyway, I was going to do that. I announced it, and then I got struck. So since then, I've changed my mind on certain things. Not that we have to ignore anything regarding, keep your eye in the skies, because I was the Fatima author who pointed out the connection to the miracle of the sun at Fatima, and what Our Lady said at Akita, Japan, 56 years later, to the day, on October the 13th, 1973, fire will fall from the sky. People have, before me, noticed some of the similarities between the two messages, but when the Third Secret came out, back 25 years ago, at least part of it, it's a description of the vision, but the words of Our Lady explaining what's the reason for that vision were not given to us. But the connection that I made was the description is written by Sister Lucia, or so we're told, does open with an angel with a flaming sword as if to set the world on fire. And then at Akita, again, all those years later, in 1973, the message included these words, fire will fall from the sky. Now, many people have picked it up since, and many of them don't recognize or maybe don't know that I'm the source of it. So a lot of people will ask me, what do I think about this Pope? What do I think? Will he be the one that does the consecration? Is he the bishop dressed in white that's mentioned, in the third secret vision description, etc.? Some of those things I can't answer. I'm a researcher, and I'm a historian regarding that, I guess I should say. But although I can from time to time make connections, of course, I don't have the answers to everything. Nobody does. And while we might be concerned and should be concerned about the increasing chastisement, I think we should be more focused on the solution, because the chastisement will cease and Russia will be converted and an era of peace will be granted to the world. So that is something I've always believed, but especially in the last few years with these constant illnesses and continuing crosses, I've come to that conclusion that that's more important. But if you're interested, I could, talk about it to a certain point. I also have another gentleman who writes to me from time to time, and he has a channel. I just can't remember the name of it, and I'm sorry, but I'll get to that later. Meantime, we do want to hear from you. As I said, what are you interested in? Are there certain people you'd like to hear from? I'm very interested in talking to the regular, everyday lay Catholic in the pew. We are the salt of the earth, and none of us are guaranteed to be saints. I don't care who we are. We're author, researcher, writer, author, magazine, publishing, anything, very famous. It doesn't guarantee anything. We're all human, and we all have the different challenges, crosses, and responsibilities to God and in our states in life. So I just want to hear from the regular people in the pew, but if you would like to hear from certain more traditional Catholics, men or women, I would like to hear what you have to say. We'll see what we can do about that. So I just wanted to give you this quick update, and I'm hoping too that you will pray for me for my continuing improved health, as well as for the other needs of our family. If you have any prayer requests that you would like us to pray for, as well as others in the Genesis 315 community, please leave that in the comments below. And hopefully I'll be seeing you every Thursday after this, and maybe we'll even be able to increase that time if things go well. I'm not going to put everything in one basket, so to speak, at this point. Guess I've learned my lesson, right? Should have done this by my age. But anyway, that's where we are right now. So again, check it out, Veritatis Vox. If you can, subscribe to Matt Gaspers' channel. And if you're just seeing this for the first time, I hope that you will also subscribe. If you are a subscriber, I hope you'll pass the word and help us grow this Genesis 315 community that promotes the Fatima message and the traditional Catholic faith in this age of modernism. So until I see you, and hopefully that'll be soon, may God bless you, and may Our Lady Mary keep you and yours under her starry mantle. Salve, Regina.